Football on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power. When you've watched more Belarus Premier League than is healthy, proper football is back. Gamble responsibly. CWE.net.
And you're very welcome along to this week's Know Your Football. A reminder, Know Your Football is brought to you by Paddy Power. Check out paddypower.com for their money back specials and always play responsibly. With us this week, as ever, it's Phil and Nathan. I think, who won last week? Remind me.
I think it was me, Nathan.
Phil might have edged me out.
Yeah, it was an emotional day, though, remember.
It was a very emotional day. How are you both feeling this morning now that your beloved Liverpool are, back off their perch? It was
like what?
1 week and all the celebrations are completely done. Man City are back and you've given a sucker an even break. What happened?
The celebrations aren't over by the looks of some of the Liverpool players last night. That's the problem.
All week long I was listening to the two of you banging on about how this was going to be different from Liverpool. They weren't going to over-celebrate. They weren't even that much a squad of drinkers we'd heard. We got all this information about how Jurgen Klopp really wanted to make sure that they sent out a message for next season, and it was all nonsense. You were all feeding off that nonsense. It bought all the hype. The two of you rallying the Liverpool troops and not a single bit of decent analysis done that this was a team who have nothing to play for anymore against a team who were humiliated the week before. It was obvious Man City were going to win that game, Nathan. Obvious.
Perhaps, but ultimately, who cares?
Well, I mean,
it's totally irrelevant.
Takes the gloss off it. Totally takes the gloss off it.
Doesn't take
you may as well
any
give the trophy back,
anything.
for God's sake.
Well, they haven't even got the trophy yet to give it back.
Well, so don't even give it to them.
Technically, still have it.
They're only borrowing it from Man City, for God's sake.
A lot's going to be read into this over the next few weeks and months. If anything, it says more about Manchester City than Liverpool this season, that they can get to that level of brilliance, but not when it matters, and haven't got to that level when it matters consistently. 8 defeats this season, most of them in the big matches. So there's a lot for Pep Guardiola to think about, as much as Jurgen Klopp, who again, reinforce what we know about Liverpool. When they are at 100%, they're as good, if not better, than anybody. But any little dip away from that in terms of intensity, and they're not quite the same. And I actually thought first 25 minutes they played quite well last night. But once City went in front, the heads dipped, and maybe the hangovers caught up just a little bit.
I thought they weren't drinkers, though. I thought they weren't drinkers. A lot of them aren't drinkers.
Well, you only need a couple of. You only need a left back who likes to drink, and the entire team might be in trouble.
The two fullbacks, your two most influential players. I've never seen Andy
Robertson play as bad. Oh my God, he was all over the shop.
Hey, look, I mean, I did actually think that Liverpool were going to be a little bit off for the rest of the season, because it's impossible to be at the same level that they've been at for the last 18 months and continue when you've actually delivered the thing that you need to deliver. So, Phil, does this now, if you're the strength and conditioning people, if you're the medical people, if you're Jurgen Klopp, make you think we could have a proper pre-season and get this team to pitch perfect for the first day of next season, and it has no consequences? It has literally no consequences, except maybe we don't win the Golden Boot or something stupid like that, right? Which literally I'd say nobody apart from the individual himself really cares about in that team. So what do? Do you start giving extra Premier League experience to a bunch of kids? Do you trial new things and accept that your players are going to be a little bit off? Rest players, rest those weary bones and hit the ground running next season? Or do you play out this string? I think you might have been one of the people who are like, oh, it's Villa I fear for this weekend. I'm delighted. I think Villa have a real chance of beating this Liverpool team now, because Liverpool don't care anymore.
I don't know. Liverpool have won every home game at Anfield this season. I think that still means something to them. And
why? Why does it mean something to them anymore?
Because they could become the first team in the Premier League era to win every home game.
Who cares? Who cares?
Some people, Ger, have professional pride.
They did last night.
Well, do you know what? And Nathan touched on it there. The first 25 minutes, Liverpool were actually pretty good. Mane, who definitely doesn't drink, just wasn't as sharp as usual. Salah was actually okay. Roberto Firmino wasn't his usual bright self. But the game kind of changed a little bit once the penalty went in. And I know Joe Gomez brought down Raheem Sterling, but if you actually look at it again, the initial foul is from Sterling. He grabs Gomez's jersey. It's classic.
Come on.
It's classic corner forward play. When you grab the player onto you, win the free.
James McCartan, I think, was the...
James McCartan, exactly. He was an expert at it and went down when winning All Ireland. But look, City were the better team, no doubt about it. But you can take out 4 or 5 of those players and Liverpool are still going to be good enough to beat the majority of the teams that play between now and the end of the season. The only difference with last night was they were playing their closest rivals, Manchester City, who happen to play very well. But
why bother though? Like, who cares about winning every game? If I was Klopp, I would actually not try and set any records for the rest of the season, because that gives him something to aim for next year. Like, he is definitely thinking long term here. He's not thinking, great, we did this. This isn't. Was it Gerard Houllier used to talk about his 5 trophies? And what was? Oh, the Charity Shield and the European Super Cup were like, oh, absolutely massively important games. This is somebody who is legitimately thinking about building something that lasts forever, that is as good, if not better, than the Shankly era, the Fagan era, and what Dalglish did. He's thinking in those terms. Why does he care about winning every home game this year?
No, I think what he doesn't want to happen is that the season just peters out a bit and then it carries into next season. There was a bit of that with Dortmund when he won the first title with Dortmund. They started the next season quite slowly, but then they went on an unbelievable run and they obviously retained their title. And he doesn't want to have to do that because City are great front runners. You got to get ahead of City. You think back to the pivotal game, the pivotal few days in the title race, I felt was the weekend that Liverpool came back and beat Villa. The same day City came back and beat Southampton, but the following week Liverpool were playing Manchester City at Anfield. So in the space of a few minutes, it went from City had the chance maybe to go to Anfield to go top of the table on goal difference to all of a sudden Liverpool were 9 points clear of City and they never looked back after that. You just can't let City get ahead of you, because we've seen with City great front runners, but you actually put them under pressure. And the same applies in games as well. If you score the first goal against City, you've got a good chance. And I think one of the biggest factors going into next season is all about City and the European ban. If they get a 2-year European ban upheld, what does Kevin De Bruyne do? Does he hang around? Does Pep Guardiola hang around? If it's cut to a season, then players might hang around, but then they might have an advantage because they don't have European games. They can obviously play with more intensity in Premier League matches. So that's something that's going to be crucial in the next couple of weeks when that decision comes through.
So the 26th of July, I think, is the last Premier League game of the season. Is that right, Nathan?
Yeah.
So 26th of July, and the new season starts on the 11th of September. So you'll have essentially 6 weeks, right? 2 weeks for them to go on holidays and 4 weeks of a pre-season, or 3 weeks on holidays and 4 weeks of 3 weeks of a pre-season. But if you're Liverpool, you can actually time the science perfectly to know exactly how you get the team up to prevent that thing that Dortmund had. I presume the sports science has come on stratospherically since Dortmund won the league for the first time, and also Liverpool being such a much bigger club would have resources that are infinitely bigger than what Dortmund would have had. So they will know exactly when Firmino is at full tilt, when Salah is at full tilt, when Sané and all the rest of the team are going to be ready for that September 11 kickoff. So Nathan, I put it to you that actually the right thing to do is to take the foot off the gas now. That actually this whole thing that we're going to be able to have our best form in the final day of the Premier League season and our best form in the first day of the new Premier League season is actually fallacious. It's impossible to guarantee that because we're playing well in the end of July, we're also going to play well in the middle of September.
Well, I would put it to you that you've just answered your own question, Chair, that there's never been and will never be a season like the one that's coming up where there's so many unknowns heading into it, because it is totally unprecedented in the amount of time the players will have had off. So on the sports science angle, of course, they will know exactly when players are at their peak. But is having a player playing 3 games in the space of 6.5 months, is that the optimum way of getting them to their peak on the 11th of September? It may not be. There's also the mental side, and this is straightforward for Jurgen Klopp. He may well turn around to Mo Salah and say, listen, you've won 2 golden boots in a row, you've 17 goals, you've won us a league title, you've done everything we would ever want. Go home to Egypt for a few weeks, relax with your family, and come back ready. And Mo Salah may say, actually, I want that golden boot. And he will do whatever it takes to keep Mo Salah happy. So if Salah wants to play, he will. The other thing is, they don't need to play with quite the same intensity. There's not going to be the same stresses and strains over the next few games. And I know you'll say maybe that puts you at risk to injury as well. But I think first game back at Anfield against Villa, they'll go quite strong. The day they lift the trophy, they'll probably end up going quite strong up against Chelsea. So you play a reasonably strong team in 3 of the games. And again, you mix and match. I can't imagine he's going to give any players literally from tomorrow to beginning of August off. Like, pre-season has probably already started in a way. They're probably training slightly different than they would because of next season. And the other thing is, Manchester City could be playing a Champions League final 2 weeks before that. Is that a positive that if they were to win the Champions League, all the momentum of being European champions and coming into the start of a new Premier League season, or have they gone through 3-4 games in the space of a week and are absolutely shattered?
Can I bring you back to the Champions League final last year and the quality of football that we witnessed, because both teams had actually deteriorated from the lack of football in the previous 2.5, essentially 3 weeks since they'd played a game before that. The game was no good, I argue, not because two nervous teams are playing in a big final, and sometimes finals are a bit like that all the way back to the 1980s, but actually because they were a little bit out of practice. And you can time it with the science now to know, if you're Liverpool, to be ready to go for September 11th. All of the rest of these games are utterly meaningless, with the exception of Mo Salah, I grant you, and I'm just looking here at the list.
But unless actually the best way of having them ready for September 11th is keeping their bodies ticking over the next 2 weeks, and it is only 2-3 weeks till the season ends, of playing a couple of matches.
And if one of them
had 3 months off,
if one of them does a cruciate,
but sure, one of them you're as likely to do a cruciate in training.
I mean, are you actually as likely to do? I'd like to see the science on that, Nathan.
Well, I'd like to see the science behind everything you're talking about between now and September the 11th. That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying put it in the hands of the scientists, as opposed to this, we need to win these things for no reason other than record books. That's what I'm saying. Is that this has all been driven by
having that conversation. Klopp couldn't care less about what people on the outside are saying. I've no doubt he is sitting down with their sports scientists saying, how are we ready for the start of next season? What is the best thing to do? And he'll take that advice. Part of it may well be, maybe there's pressures within the club for all sorts of merchandise and the team that got to 101 points. Maybe there is that pressure that we don't know about. But I cannot see any way Klopp will sacrifice the fitness of his players for next season over the next few weeks. I just think he will feel that actually having them playing games, having not played for 3 months, the vast majority of them, is probably the best way of keeping them ticking over. It's going to be a different pre-season. I can't imagine there'll be as many pre-season games. There's going to be no travelling. They're not going to be going to Asia and to America in pre-season. It's going to be a lighter load automatically. And you're right, you have to start fast. But we don't know what Manchester City, what shape they're going to be in either, because of the Champions League. So there are so many unknowns. But there's signs last night for Klopp that if there's any sort of a little dip, and if they aren't at it, they can get caught. You just have to presume that last night was, again, first 25 minutes, there wasn't much in it. Klopp said after the game, like 5-3, I would have probably said maybe 8-3 would have been a fair result at the end. Compared to what we've seen from these two clubs over the last 2 or 3 years, it was nothing like it. It was open. There was no real bite to it at all.
Raheem Sterling seemed pretty happy to have scored.
Yeah, that's because he never scored against Liverpool before, and he decides to score in this game when there's absolutely nothing riding on the game. And obviously, he probably loved the fact that he got one over on Joe Gomez, given the history of the fixture at Anfield, and then it spilled into the England training camp as well. And there was an incident in the second half last night as well where Trent Alexander-Arnold pushed Sterling and he squared up to him. So there's definitely, they have respect for each other. But going back to Klopp resting players, Klopp, you could see, was pretty pissed off last night after losing because he doesn't want to lose. So I just can't see his standards that he's set since he's come into the club, that he'll just think it's all right to write off the rest of the season. We're champions now. The reason they are champions is because the standards are so high. So he'll just want to keep that going. But he will want to look at a few players. He'll want the likes of Minamino, maybe to see what Nico Williams is like in a stronger team rather than your usual League Cup or FA Cup team. And I even before last night and Robertson's performance, I still would have said Liverpool need another left back just as cover, because and a left-footed player, because Milner does fill in there very well, but you saw at Goodison what happens when Robertson's not playing. You lose that width.
Yeah. Okay, there's exactly 10 minutes left to go for everybody to sign up for the quiz. quiz.otbsports.com is the URL. You need to get onto that and log on, and you're going to be able to take part in our quiz. We're giving away £1,000 in cold, hard cash. Over 150 people have signed up so far, and you always get another late surge. You know, the Irish, we like to arrive late for things. Know Your Football is brought to you in association with the Soundheads over at Paddy Power. When this all gets back to normal, it's Paddy who'll have the best of money-back specials and featured power prices. Enda wants me to ask you, everybody's talking about Klopp being a cuddly great figure, but does last night's interview with Jeff Shreves show that it's just an act, Nathan, and his mask will slip next year when the pressure is on?
Well, what's the mask? I've said it before. I've seen him in post-match interviews away from the cameras where he's a far more intense, far less cuddly figure. And we saw that last night. But I think he's had moments like that. He's never going to be a good loser. They've just been beaten 4-0 by Manchester City. Very lucky it wasn't 5 or 6. He's not going to be happy, especially a week after they've won the title. And he probably feels that Jeff Shreeves is looking to add a real negative tinge to read more into the game. What is the mask slipping, though, that he loses the rag a couple of times? It's going to be difficult next season for Liverpool. There's no guarantees that they're going to win the title comfortably. They may need to get to 90, 95 points again next season. So, what's the problem? I don't have an issue with last night's interview. I didn't actually think I was driving home after the game, expecting absolute fireworks when I saw this post-game interview. I was like, it's a bit peed off, but sure.
He's supposed to be annoyed after his team gets spanked like that by their main rivals.
Absolutely. Like, if he'd come out and was like, who gives a damn? Sure, we're champions. We're 20 points clear. You don't really want to be feeding that message back. But I did get the sense he probably didn't really tear into his players at full time. I'd say he understood that, listen, the effort they put in this season, they deserve a little bit of leeway from within the club, because understandably from outside the club, when you are the champions, everyone's going to look to pick holes in you.
Yeah. Look, Phil, Nathan started this by the fairly common distraction tactic. Well, what about Man City? Why couldn't they do this all season? And look, in fairness, it's a good question. We have a couple of minutes here before we give everybody their final warning. What does a performance like last night what does it do from City's perspective as they lick their wounds over the summer? Who knows, maybe they're champions of Europe. There's a strong possibility that might still happen, so there won't be too many wounds to be licking. But if they don't win the Champions Cup and the European Cup, and they do end up being 20 odd points behind this Liverpool team, and yet they also were able to spank them the week after the actual trophy was won, what does this mean from their perspective? How do they start next season?
Yeah, it would just be very frustrating if you were a Manchester City supporter. You'd think even back to last week, and they had moments at Stamford Bridge where they were excellent, and then they get undone. And it was something that was quite evident last night, that Liverpool's success is built on being so good at the back, whereas obviously we know the way Pep Guardiola wants to play. His way of defending is to not give away the ball, but obviously when they give away the ball, they're just not as strong at the back. And does he bring in another centre half? It doesn't seem like he would do something like that. He would just basically say to his players, just stop giving the ball away. We have a way of playing. And, you know, there's a few games where they were touch and go. If, you know, a little bit of a swing, maybe the gap would have been a little bit less. But they are not consistent enough. You don't lose 8 games if you're an amazing side. So why are they losing 8 games?
Well, I don't know. Is there a chance that they just got bored of being so amazing like they were last season? That, like, we haven't really talked about the fact that they were unable to maintain the standards that they had last season, which were all-time great standards. Like, is there just a possibility? It's like, okay. I mean, look, we've won the league. We're now focused on trying to win the Champions League, and they're doing okay. You know, we would know if they'd won the Champions League by now in a normal season if...
Yeah. 100%, Ger. I think actually for Jurgen Klopp, the example of what can go wrong for Liverpool is to look at Manchester City. I know there's been a lot of conversation on the show about greatness and where this Liverpool side rank. That Manchester City team of last season, what they did to get to 98 points with Liverpool so relentless and to keep playing this unbelievably attractive style of football, to sticking to their principles and winning game after game after game, 14 games in a row to end the season and having to win every single one of them, puts them right up there among the greatest teams of all time. But they had a slight dip. And for Liverpool, it is the same worry, that at 100%, they can beat everybody. But even at 95%, they're going to drop too many points. So can Klopp keep that going? Can he keep the drive there? Maybe last night helps that a little bit and keeps them on their toes as much as he would want. But I think for Manchester City, it's just been a lack of concentration at times, a lot of sloppy goals conceded. They obviously didn't replace Vincent Kompany.
Yeah.
They need reinforcements at the back. But even last night, like the amount of chances they gave up and the lack of chasing back at times, and just real, I don't think it's arrogance, because they can't have been as good as they were for the last couple of years.
No.
But just a general actually believe in their own hype at times, and we can do whatever we want whenever we want.
A bit of arrogance probably is a hallmark of all the great teams, though, when you think about it. So T-minus 5 minutes exactly. It's your last 5 minutes to go and sign up. quiz.otbsports.com is the URL. We're going to take a 30-second break to give you the opportunity to get signed up. Just hit play on the video and you'll be able to play along with us. So there's a grand and cold hard cash on the line, and we're going to give it away in about 15 minutes' time. Missing this?
I remember Ollie texted me Solskjaer. 1 or 2 people would get hold of my number, unfortunately, and he would text me.
Then get this, the all-new OTB Sports app. Off the Ball, Ireland's premier sports channel, now has a new home, featuring the biggest names in Irish and world sports. Podcasts, interviews, news, commentary, analysis, plus almost 20 years of sporting archives. All free and ready when you are, at home or on the go. The new OTB Sports app. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play.
Know your football on OTB in association with Paddy Power, doing our bit to combat the no football blues.
Yes, luckily football is back and our quiz is here to test your football knowledge. Last week, Phil just about squeaked a victory over Nathan, and we had 4 winners share in what last week was a £2,000 prize because nobody won the previous week, so the grand rolled over, and so they all had 500 quid as a result over the course of the weekend, which wasn't a bad prize at all. So this week there's going to be a grand in cash to give away. All you got to do is get all 15 questions correct and you'll share in that €1,000. If nobody gets it right, all 15 right, then we'll roll it over to next week. Fairly dramatic stuff last week. We get the numbers up on screen. We have 285 players registered. There's 3.5 minutes left to go. So I already have these questions, and you know, they're decent. They're gettable this week, I think. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody did actually manage to get it the whole way through. So just get on to quiz.otbsports.com and you've got 3 minutes left to register. It was nerve-wracking last week, Phil, but you managed to see him off. A bit like Man City the year before.
Yeah, absolutely. Personally, I do love a rollover. I think a rollover just sets it all up beautifully for next week. And I think if the last man standing competition we do in our local, there's a great buzz around. I think that the record is 3 rollovers, which obviously the pot was pretty big. Yeah, I mean, I would like a rollover. I definitely think that we could get this to like 4 or 5 grand, and then the tension would be unbearable. But I'm not sure you two would be ready for that. I'm not sure. Nathan, you cracked a little bit under the pressure last week.
No, I was basically Andy Robertson last Friday, so I'm back. I'm back this Friday.
So you were hungover last Friday because of Liverpool's victory, and Phil wasn't. Like Phil, you know, I mean,
he's a pro.
In fairness, his body's a temple. Yours is kind of like the Sagrada Familia. They're still building it.
Unfortunately. Adding extra layers all the time.
Quiz.otbsports.com is the URL. We're nearly up to 300 players and there's 2 minutes left to go before our first question. So if you're really quick, you're going to make it. And we're going to be going very soon to ask 15 questions. It's Know Your Football. These two obviously are supposed to know their football, and they've been pretty good. I should stress, by the way, that neither Phil nor Nathan are actually allowed to share in the prize money. This despite the repeated attempts from both of them to beg, borrow or steal their way in. So no, they can't actually win the money. Don't worry about it. And they haven't seen the questions before either. A reminder, Know Your Football is brought to you with thanks to Paddy Power. Be sure to check out paddypower.com for their money back specials, and always play responsibly. There's a certain period of sports trivia where I'm like, yeah, I know absolutely everything for it. And then there are definite black spots kind of after about 2004. It all kind of melds into one thing for me.
It's like when you find yourself watching the Premier League season reviews on Sky from 2001, and how have I forgotten about these unbelievable moments in football that meant so much to me at the time? Yeah, so I have a similar up to 2000. I think maybe I'm a bit later. Maybe 06 to 2010 is my weak spot.
When Chelsea won the Champions League, all that kind of stuff. Like who? I didn't see that game because I was at the Heineken Cup when Leinster won it that day as well against Ulster. So I remember watching it on a dodgy phone reception on the plane, and kind of coming in and out. We were on the runway. You could see the Chelsea players celebrating, but that was about it. So first question coming in 30 seconds. We have 308 players, 25 seconds to go to the first question. Quiz.otbsports.com. They're coming in big numbers now to this because they realise that there's a grand in cash to be won if you just know your sport, know your football well enough. Okay, first question coming in 10 seconds. It's Phil versus Nathan versus 313 of you out there. So here we go. First question in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. From which club did Manchester United buy Paul Pogba for a record fee? Milan, Inter, PSG, or Juventus? I think we all know the answer to this one. Not going to give that one away just yet. Next question coming in 30 seconds. Is Pogba going to be at Man United next season?
It looks like it, doesn't it?
Oof. A lot of players gone there. You You got to be quick, I think, is the issue with the first couple of questions. Of only 10 seconds, there's no time to think. You just got to be honest.
We lost 130 odds. Come on, folks. Wow. Come on. 179 players still in with a chance of winning a prize. Next question coming in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Who knocked the Republic of Ireland out of Euro 2016? Who was it? Italy, Spain, the Netherlands, or France? We give you 10 seconds to answer this. And the reason that we're going to give you 10 seconds to answer is so that people can't Google it. Now, you shouldn't really need to Google this one. But, so there we go. What are we in? Still 145. We lost 30 of you there. 145 players still in with a chance of winning a prize. The correct answer for which club did Manchester United buy Paul Pogba for a club record fee? It wasn't Milan, it wasn't Inter, it wasn't PSG. It was Juventus. It's the carousel. Manchester, Juventus, Manchester, potentially Juventus again. Next question coming in 7 seconds. 145 players still in with a chance of winning a prize or sharing in our grand that we're giving away this week. Which club won the Champions League in the 2017-2018 season? Your options: Real Madrid, Liverpool, Barcelona, or Bayern München. So 145 players still with a chance of winning the prize. And the previous question, who knocked the Republic of Ireland out of Euro 2016? There was that brief, glorious moment where we were 1-0.
Yeah. 1-0 up at half time.
Didn't feel like we were going to win it, even at that stage, did it?
I was so bloody hot that day. I was in the stands. I wasn't there on press duty and scorched by the sun that day. 83
players still have a chance of winning. They're dropping like flies. Next question in 4. The answer was France, of course. Next question in 1 second. This one from the vaults. Who won the 1994 FIFA World Cup? Was it Germany, Brazil, France, or Italy? Or was it Diana Ross? 2 seconds left. That one's done. Who won the Champions League in the 2017-2018 season? Real Madrid, Liverpool, Barcelona, or Bayern Munich? Who was it, folks?
Real Madrid.
Real Madrid, yeah.
Lars Karius.
Lars
Karius final, yeah.
Does Klopp take any blame for having Lars Karius in the team? You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Klopp takes.
Well, to actually get to a final with Karius, that's some achievement.
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. It's definitely one way of looking at it. Next question in 6 seconds. Only 61 people left. Oh my God! Did you not know who won the '94 World Cup? All right. Who did Germany beat in the 2014 World Cup final? Is the answer Argentina, Brazil, France, or the Netherlands? Argentina, Brazil, France, or the Netherlands? Better answer quick. So we have 49 players left in with a chance. Who won the 1994 World Cup? Germany, France, Brazil, or Italy? Went to penalties, and Brazil won, right?
Yeah, I think Diana Ross probably took a better penalty than Baggio.
Who did Germany beat in the... We'll do that one in just a minute. Next question coming here in 10 seconds. We have 53 players still in with a chance of winning. So we've lost 270 in our first 5 or 6 questions. Next question in 1 second. Who was the Republic of Ireland manager at Euro 2012? Was it Trapattoni? Was it Martin O'Neill? Was it Mick McCarthy? Or was it Steve Staunton? 4 seconds left to answer that one.
Go on, Phil.
No, don't tell us yet. Who did Germany beat in the 2014 World Cup final? Was it Argentina, Brazil, France, or the Netherlands? Give me an answer to that one.
Argentina.
It was Argentina, yeah. That was the extra time goal? Was it an extra time?
The Germany beat Argentina?
Yeah.
Mario Götze, yeah.
Didn't do very much after with his career, did he? He was a bit like Liverpool celebrating afterwards. Next question. Which League of Ireland team plays home games at Dalymount Park? You've got 10 seconds to answer this. Is it Pats, Bows, Rovers, or Dundalk? Is it Pats, Bows, Rovers, or Dundalk? And we have 49 players still with a chance of winning for that one. And we still have... Oh, we don't. We lost... Oof. We lost 24 there. 25 players still in with a chance of winning a prize.
Not too many League of Ireland aficionados, is there?
Who was the Republic of Ireland manager at Euro 2012?
Trapattoni.
Non es campione.
Give us your Mick McCarthy, Phil. Go on.
I thought you were going to ask me for the Trapattoni. Remember those Trapattoni press conferences trying to get a 10-second clip out of them, and Manuela would ruin them for you.
Next question. Which League of Ireland team plays home games at Turner's Cross? Is the answer Cork City, Limerick FC, Waterford FC, or Wexford? It's Cork, Limerick, Waterford or Wexford. Which League of Ireland team plays its home games at Turner's Cross? Whoa, we lost 15 on that one. We're down to 14 players, still with a chance of winning a prize.
We've spotted their weakness, Ger. Lots of League of Ireland questions coming every week now.
Which League of Ireland team plays home games at Dalymount Park? What's the answer? Bohemians.
Yeah, there's a few Bows fans in this office.
It's going to be Bows and Shells at some point, right? That makes a lot of sense to ground share in the League of Ireland and boost the facilities. Anyway, it's a different issue. Which of these players has won the European Golden Boot? Harry Kane, Alan Shearer, Kevin Phillips or Wayne Rooney? Kane, Shearer, Phillips or Wayne Rooney? European Golden Boot. Got that one right. We had 14 before that. What have we got left? 8.
Oh.
We're down to the last 8. Here we go. We've got loads of questions left. I think we might be on for a rollover, folks. Next question in 20 seconds. We asked you which League of Ireland team plays home games at Turner's Cross? Cork, Limerick, Waterford or Wexford? What's the answer? Cork. Cork City is correct. So we have 8 players still with a chance of winning a prize. And we have quite a few questions left. Who was the oldest World Cup winning captain? Was it Beckenbauer, Dino Zoff, Fabio Cannavaro or Dunga? It turns out you need to be an outlet to captain a World Cup winning team. Beckenbauer, Zoff, Cannavaro or Dunga? We had 8 before that. And we have 5. Oh. We have 5 now. Okay. So the question before that, which of these players won the European Golden Boot? Was it Harry Kane, Alan Shearer, Kevin Phillips or Wayne Rooney? Who was it, lads?
Super Kev.
Super Kev.
Yeah.
The bullets of his gun, of course, loaded by Niall Quinn, right? Was it Quinn still there that season?
I was
pretty sure he was.
Silence now, lads.
Yeah. Quinn was the man, yeah.
Know your football.
It was a Golden Boot for little knockdowns. Niall Quinn every day of the week.
Next question. Who was the top scorer at the 98 World Cup? Ronaldo, Zidane, Marcelo Salas or Davor Suker? That's a good question. Ronaldo, Zidane, Salas or Davor Suker? Yeah, if you'd asked me and put a gun to my head, I would have said all of them, to be honest. Which would have been the wrong answer. So, who was the oldest World Cup winning captain? Beckenbauer, very old in photographs, looks it. But actually, no. Dino Zoff, who was absolutely ancient. Fabio Cannavaro just looked old, although he was kind of in his mid-30s. And Dunga also looked old. The correct answer was?
Dino Zoff, I presume.
Dino Zoff. Have you both got everything right so far?
Yeah, I'm clean sweep so far, yeah.
Next question in 2 seconds. Who was named the best young player at the 2002 World Cup? Ronaldinho, Michael Owen, Landon Donovan or Philip Lam? The 2002 World Cup. Who was the best young player? I didn't even know they had a prize for this. What'd you get?
I'm still thinking of the irony and the hypocrisy of you saying that Fabio Cannavaro looked old when he captained Italy to the World Cup.
His shaved head.
He looked unbelievable.
Yeah,
he was ripped.
He's a handsome man. Suits the shaved head.
One player left.
I haven't seen it left. Oh no, I didn't realise it's down to the final one. That is tense. Who was top scorer of the 98 World Cup? Ronaldo, Zidane, Salas or Suker?
Suker.
Davor Suker, yeah.
Damn it. I was only talking about him the other day, so I just said, I think it is him.
Who beat the Republic of Ireland in the last 16 at the 1994 World Cup? Spain, Italy, USA or the Netherlands? One player still in with a chance of winning a prize. Before that, we still have one player. It looks like we do. Right. Cannavaro has hair now, apparently. Young player of the year, young player of the 2002 World Cup. This is ridiculous. Ronaldinho, Michael Owen, Landon Donovan or Philip Lam. Was Landon Donovan not about 40 at this stage?
Nah, it was Donovan, yeah.
Yeah, it was Landon Donovan, yeah. What do you get? Like, is a little pair of baby shoes? Well, what's your prize? So here we go. Next question in 2, 1. Which club plays their home games at San Mamés? Real Betis, Athletic Bilbao, Sociedad, Villarreal. One player left to win a grand. Couple of questions left to do it.
Oh.
We still have one player left, do we? Yes, we do. Question before that was who beat the Republic of Ireland in the last 16 at the 1994 World Cup? Spain, Italy, the USA or the Netherlands? And we all think of Fim Jonk and Packy Bonners, Butterfingers, and the correct answer was the Netherlands. The final question. €1,000. €1,000 riding on this question. and this was a toughie. Who did Arsenal play in their last Premier League game at Highbury? Is the answer Charlton, Middlesbrough, Wigan, or West Ham? 5 seconds left for our final player to win €1,000. €1,000 and cold hard cash on the line. The answer to the previous question was Real Betis, Athletic Bilbao, Sociedad or Villarreal play their home games at San Mamés. The answer was Bilbao. And it turns out we have a winner.
Oh.
We have a winner. One single player is going to walk away with £1,000 in cold hard cash.
Wow.
That last question, who did Arsenal play in their last Premier League game at Highbury? The answer was Wigan. I presume it was stick a pin in it. Charlton, Borough, Wigan or West Ham. The final answer was actually Wigan. So well done. We have a single individual and we'll let you know exactly who that was before next week's show. Know Your Football is brought to you in association with the Soundheads over at Paddy Power. When this all goes back to normal, it's Paddy who will have the best of money back specials and featured power prices. Remember to always bet responsibly, and that is our quiz this week. We'll be back at lunchtime again next week. Before I let you go, how did you do, lads?
14, and I got the last one wrong.
Phil, 14.
Fell on the final hurdle.
11.
Oof.
And I got the last one right.
So it's 2-0 to Phil. I mean,
No, it's 2-1 to Phil.
Well, I wasn't around for that, so that doesn't
It's
count.
kind of like the Premier League era.
Exactly, it's the Premier League era. That doesn't count. And you said that you weren't going to be hungover this week, Nathan, and you had your ass handed to you. A bit like Liverpool. It was like the same difference between the two scores. So congratulations to you, Phil. Congratulations to our single winner. We will be making contact with you very, very shortly to tell you about how we get that €1,000 from our account to yours. So congratulations, a brilliant Know Your Football this week. We'll be back next Friday at lunchtime. Make sure you tell your friends and you join the ever increasing bunch of people who are playing this game every week. It's good old crack and we're delighted to bring it to you. So stay tuned to the Off The Ball channels and we'll be back real soon. Take care.
Know Your Football on OTB in association with Paddy Power. Thanks for playing with us.